Mr. Latta for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding today's legislative hearing and also for allowing me to wave on to the subcommittee today. Appreciate it. Along with the gentleman from Pennsylvania, California, and Florida, I'm proud to co-lead the Preserving Consumer Choice and Vehicle Purchases Act, and I thank the subcommittee chair and the full committee chair for working with us to get to this point today. This legislation builds on the previous work that we did last fall, which included a letter with over 150 House members to President Biden advocating for the rights of our constituents to purchase whatever vehicles they so choose. Unfortunately, we never received a response from the administration. To me, this signals that the administration is not prioritizing the rights of consumers in their deliberations. Without repeating the same points as my co-leaders on this legislation, I cannot emphasize enough that California's efforts to ban the sale of internal combustion engine vehicles will have national implications. It will, as stated by others, will increase costs for Americans and add to greater instability for an already strained electric grid. Mr. Deputy Administrator, since the President did not respond to our concerns that we outlined in our letter last year, and your written testimony doesn't indicate a specific stance on the bill, do you know, is the administration opposed to this legislation?
I don't know, because the administration has not taken a position yet on the legislation.
Did the administration forward the letter on to the EPA?
I don't know. I'm not calling up to mind that particular letter.
If you get back to me on that, I'd like to know if the EPA, received that letter from the president then to work on. Because when Congress first wrote Title II of the Clean Air Act, do you believe it was the Congress's intent to allow one state to have the ability to implement a de facto national mandate on what specific vehicle consumers could purchase?
I believe what Congress intended to do was to give states the option of adopting California standards if EPA granted a waiver for those standards. And of course,
I'm sorry, could you speak in the microphone? There we go.
I'm sorry.
But you said that you believe it was what?
I believe that the intent. I believe the intention of Congress was to give states the option after EPA granted waivers, a waiver to California, to adopt California standards as appropriate to address the air quality problems within their states.
But, and again, though, in this situation, could it be a de facto national mandate when you look at the size of California, especially the states around it, what it could do to other states having to then adhere to what California is doing?
Well, sir, the mechanism under the Clean Air Act is for states to exercise their option to choose to adopt California standards.
Well, because our time's short here, but again, if California do it, it could be in a situation that would be almost a de facto mandate on the other states. Let me move on because I've run out of time here. Again, as you've already heard, in order to move on to an all-EV fleet, which is what California wants to pose on the entire country, the U.S. Energy Information Administration has stated that the United States will need to generate at least 50% more electricity. Now, again, when EPA starts reviewing things, do you look at what EIA says is that we're going to have 50% more energy generation by that point in time? And because I know when I've talked to the electric co-op associations, they're saying that the amount is over 50%. So, and also has also been pointed by other members, how much does EPA look at then on generation alone? Do you look at the statistics out there that we could be having brownouts, blackouts across the country? And even last September, when the governor of California just recently said they wanted to go to this EV mandate, that almost following weekend they had a heat wave where everyone was supposed to turn up their air conditioners and then not plug in their cars. So how much does EPA look at on the energy production in this country that we'd have to have just to meet the requirements of having an EV fleet?
Well, when we issued this proposal for this set of standards. We did do an analysis of the net increase in demand, and what we project for 2030 is that these standards would increase demand by 0.4%, and then go up to 4% in 2050.
I'm sorry, when you say pardon me, Mr. Chairman, when you say 4%, are you talking about we need 4% more energy?
4% more energy to.
Well, I'm kind of confused then. How does EIA come up with 50%?
I know we work with the EIA. I don't know, I'd need to go back and look at the particulars.
What I'd like to do,
EIA's analysis.
I'll make sure that we get the EIA information to you all.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.